Welcome back to another video, pilots. Today, I'll be going over some of the new information shown by Game Informer and IGN in their campaign gameplay they showed us, as well as some written information from articles by them as well. I'll be going over info by categories I have made to consolidate the info. Strap in, for this is a big drop. There's a lot to cover. Game Informer gave us a quick 1-minute look at the first level of the game, which appears to be trying to capture the escape the ship feel we got in Halo CE's first level. The ship we are on is called the Warship Gabrakan, or however you would pronounce that. Chief wakes up here only 6 months after a skirmish that Game Informer was unable to talk about. Likely a big intro cutscene we have yet to see. Near the end of the mission, we can see the Chief blowing up the warship, and maybe this is the explosion that propels him into space, where we meet the pilot. The pilot is referred to as simply Echo 216 in the subtitles. Likely, we won't ever call him by his name in the game. Chief might refer to him as Echo 216 throughout the story. That isn't to say we won't ever learn his name, just that Chief probably won't call him by it. The opening for the recent campaign overview video is actually just half of what appears to be a flashback to when Master Chief first received Cortana. I'm not a lore expert, but if someone knows the true canon way Cortana and Chief first met, please let me know. I do like the version of OG Cortana we see here. It really makes me want a Halo CE Anniversary 2, made in the Slipspace engine as maybe a campaign DLC down the line. The Flood was alluded to apparently, but not seen. I don't believe they will return, but they only got to play the first 4 hours of the game. It's still possible they'll show up later. As for Prometheans, they are not seen or even alluded to in the first 4 hours. We can see Escharum and the Hand of Atriox seemingly having a meeting. This is likely a cutscene where we learn they are all going to hunt down Chief. There's multiple scenes that lead me to believe the UNSC Infinity crash-landed on the ring. Game Informer also lets us know the audio logs from before feature Captain Lasky and other Infinity crew, specifically stating, "What has happened to him and the rest of the Infinity crew?" I really hope 343 did not just kill off every character they introduced into the story in 4 and 5. Lastly, conflicting with 343's own words, IGN states that Halo Infinite does seem to be not that friendly to newcomers in its campaign, gearing itself more towards existing fans. I personally don't mind either way, but it is interesting to hear from someone that it's not having the intended effect that 343 wanted of being newcomer friendly. Skirmishers are back, having been absent since Halo Reach. They sport these really big headdresses or something of that nature, but their dual gauntlet shields can be seen clear as day. I wonder what other subclasses we have yet to see will be in this game. The Hands of Atriox and other high-value targets will actually grant you their weapons upon defeat and can be equipped at FOBs. This sounds really cool and adds on to the reasons to do quests outside of the main storyline. Imagine getting Jaga's red energy sword. That's going to be really cool. Game Informer gives a specific example, quote, "We saw the battle against one high-value target named Okro Vagadoon, an elite blade master who wields a special high-powered energy sword. If you can track down his location on the TAC map, you can defeat him and pick up his sword. Completely clear out his cadre of troops along with him, and you can requisition the high-strength energy sword back at the FOB, bringing it with you into future battles." We get official looks at the Stalker Rifle and Disruptor, which were in the test flights but hidden away. I do enjoy this moment where she says the Disruptor is not that strong, and then it sends a Jackal straight into the atmosphere. The Stalker Rifle looks like a mix of the Beam Rifle and the Carbine. This is great, as the Carbine was simply another DMR in the sandbox. Now, this weapon fits a whole new role. IGN mentions secret rooms throughout the game that hold weapon variants like the Backdraft Cindershot. They are guarded by patrols and are likely similar in nature to the loot caves we saw in Big Team Battle. Ammo types work for all related weapons now. There will be crates of them throughout the game too. These ammo types are Plasma, Kinetic, Shock, Power, and The open world is more akin to an early Assassin's Creed, where it is smaller, but because of that, it feels alive. This is in stark contrast to a lot of open world games that have massive spaces of emptiness. While it is a big map, don't go in expecting something on the level of a modern Far Cry with tons of empty plains between missions. Marines will be able to join Master Chief as you travel across the Halo ring, likely being recruited at the forward operating bases we have already learned about. We do get insight into what exactly Valor is. It is essentially influence and the UNSC foothold throughout the ring. The higher your Valor, the more troops and tools you will have at your disposal. Valor is earned from taking back fobs from the Banished, rescuing Marines, and aiding those in firefights. There appears to be patrols or at least wandering enemies. We can see this when IGN takes a look at some of the wildlife and we see a brute casually strolling along a path. I can't imagine his fear, seeing the chief all by himself while just kinda chillin'. In this same scene though, we see what looks kind of like whatever this last collectible is in the menus. Unsure though if that's what it is. Master Chief does not start with all the equipment. It appears to just be the grapple shot at first. The rest of the equipment is gathered when doing main story missions, at least according to IGN. We see that the actual strength of our shield can be upgraded in the Upgrades tab. This feels like it's going to be a must upgrade on higher difficulties. 15% is not a small number in the grand scheme of things. That little bit of shield could spell the difference between life and death on Legendary. Bosses seem to really be bosses in Halo Infinite. IGN was playing on Heroic and found that bosses do have a noticeable difficulty increase compared to your standard enemies. The boss fight with Tremonius has these giant fusion cores in the arena that seem to be nice ways to deal big damage. But it looks like they can backfire too from all the projectiles that spew out of it. On Heroic difficulty, IGN states that some missions took around 30 minutes to an hour to complete, likely story missions. This sounds great, and since the game can be picked back up at any point, it shouldn't be tiring at all. We have gotten multiple looks at some of the trailers and cutscenes we were shown in the past in the new and improved look of the game. Some cutscenes, like the "We Need to Run" cutscene, were actually altered beyond looks too, adding in new dialogue and animations.
No. Not then! Not again! We need to run!
I need a weapon.
Weapon? This is all I've got.
It's enough.
I am Escharum, War Chief of the Banished. This is my world now.
It's crazy how good this game looks since we last truly saw the campaign in 2020. Every character looks better, especially Escharum. Collectables can be scanned now using the scanner tool, which we got to use in the multiplayer to see weapons and pickups through walls. We get confirmation that Spartan cores are for upgrading your gear, and what I guessed was data pads in a previous video are audio logs. These audio logs are accessed via the database tab in the menus, likely a giant compendium of information we gather while playing through the game. This article also confirms that those armor-looking collectible icons are armor for multiplayer. I absolutely love a lot of the things we have been shown of the campaign so far. It feels like a nice evolution of Halo's campaign gameplay loop. While there are some things that worry me, like the potential of Lasky and the rest of the Infinity being killed off screen, Locke being killed off screen as well, I hope the new story elements will outweigh the potential story loss those possibilities could represent. As for just gameplay though, I so far have no complaints. I'm looking forward to playing the campaign on Legendary Day 1 over on my second channel, NerdShark TV. That wraps it up for this video. I hope you were able to gather some new information and enjoy the video. If you did, maybe subscribe and drop a like. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace!